Hello everyone, this is Ariana. Today, how to heal this boss video concerning the last boss of Castle Nathria, Sire Denathrius in Mythic difficulty. This isn't going to be a strategy guide, but more a guideline explaining how you can prepare this boss as a healer. I will once again go for mechanical explanations into a walkthrough of the second kill of my guild, which was actually my first kill. I hope you will have a good time watching this video. If you enjoy it, like the video and eventually subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it. As I said during the introduction, this is a phase boss. Concerning the first phase, you have only two abilities to be aware of. First one is Cleansing Pain. Will deal damage to a very short amount of person, although it will deal an immense amount of damage because of how Mythic works with the collective trauma. Collective trauma will remove an extra stack to anyone in 1 yard range around you. You need it to be able to get into phase 2 because you start with 6 stacks of the burden of sin instead of 5. So you will have to use this collective trauma to get under 2. I recommend obviously to get the shaman not to soak any unless it's required for other people, because as I said, to trigger collective trauma you need to have several people around you. The second ability during phase 1 is the blood price. It remains the same from heroic. It will deal damage depending on how many people are at a certain amount of stacks. Apparently the second blood price is one of the hardest with the first. The first should be dealt with a spirit shell. Most likely, if you don't have one, I just recommend a massive DR. And the second one, same thing. If you use the spirit shell on the first one, you need a massive DR, or you need a massive DR on both. Phase 2 is the strongest part of this fight. First thing is the 4 ads that you will need to use gates or personal ability to get to their platform. If you need to get to their platform, they all do the same thing. They pulse damage around them and they have a special ability. Concerning the first one, Lady Sincere, her special ability is Searing Censure. She pulses arrows, red arrows, around her. If you take one, you get silenced for 6 seconds and take stupid damage. Just dodge the arrows. Lord Evershade will create an ad when he reaches 66 and 33%. If the ad is interrupted, there's nothing more to do as a healer. Except if you're a shaman, because as a shaman you can be in the rotation of the seals. Baron Dusk Hollow will grasp anyone who's not in 25 yards range of him if he gets attacked by a player. So what you have to do is to be on his platform to fight with him. And you can use the mechanic to get creep to his platform as well, which is very important actually. And Countess Gloomvale, she basically has a smoke bomb around her all the time, so you need to be in contact with her to be able to hit her. The other part of the phase 2 are the Crimson Kabbalists, who are the same as Heroic, so I won't get deep into it, and Remoria. Remoria does the same thing as Heroic, but something important to notice is that Impale actually does damage. If you thought in Heroic she dealt damage, she didn't. So you will need to use a massive cooldown on each Impale, whether it's AM Dome from Disc Priest or even SLT. In my opinion, SLT is the best because it will make everyone even out of the impale, which makes the dot easier to heal. And you also make global, with SLT, you make global the individual DR, which is quite powerful. You need to make sure you never get touched by the racking pain. The tank are supposed to put it in a way where you're never getting touched if you are placed correctly. Although that's your duty anyway as a player to watch out for it. And the massacre remains the same, exactly the same. So here it is for basically the phase 2. Phase 2 is pretty much what you had to handle during Heroic plus the Night Cloaks. So the 4 ads I talked about earlier. And now let's get into stage 3. In stage 3, the added mechanic on Mythic are first through the mirror. Through the mirror is basically you're faced with half your red. It's like a Psychus thing, kind of, as we got during Nizos. It's just you do the same thing whether you're in a phase or in another, except that people in the mirror has an AoE around them, and if anyone in the real dimension gets in contact of them, they just get one shot. So what you pretty much want to do is to go for melees in the mirror and casters on the other, or casters with a lot of mobility that can actually catch up with the melees. And the second thing is that the blood price you had during phase 1 comes back up during the last phase, but there are no burden of sin, which means the boss will deal damage to you depending on how many members you have in the current phase. You can go for 10-10 or 9-11. You do 9-11, be very careful on the 11th phase. You will need a TR, a massive TR on each blood price, but you can do it. And there it is for stage 3 in terms of mechanic. All the rest is the same as you had during Heroic. Let's get into the walkthrough now. So here we go. Here I'm a shaman, but I'm placed with Feraz because he needs me to get under the stacks, the amount of stacks he needs to be able to reach middle during phase 2. That's the only reason why I'm doing a distack, because as a shaman you don't need to. Although, as you can see, cleansing pain goes on. We take a lot of damage, and then blood price. Blood price is personal, so I used mine. As you can see, a lot of damage going on. Some people takes no damage, others takes a lot. The no damage people are basically the one with a certain amount of stack. And this is how it goes during the entire phase. Here you already saw pretty much everything during this phase. You get 2 cleansing pain and for 1 blood price. So here cleansing pain into blood price right after. So we get the painful memories, you kill the painful memories. Here the Night Hunter, you soak them. After the Night Hunter, blood price into cleansing pain. So the amount of damage will vary for you depending on how many people you get to this stack at the same time, and therefore how many people are at the same amount of stack at a certain moment. What you're supposed to do here, even if it's not a healing thing, is to make a different amount of people being stacked up. So you have a lot of people destacking, but none or have the destack the same amount of stacks. Which means you create a high amount of difference in between your raid, and as you can see, it pays off, because here on this blood price we take almost no damage, which wasn't the case during the first. Over here, this is stop DPS, start the ravage, we phase it, wolf form. So here you saw my friend Bazuk, 6 stacks, and he reaches the middle. Wolf form is completely broken for this. Really completely broken. So here I'm assigned to be on purple, so I face Lady Sincere. So we just move, you see the arrow, the red arrows, so when she drops on, you just move if you're on the line, and you don't if you're not. You can really see the increasing damage they do. As you can see on the top left of the screen, they killed their own odds, the other group. And here we go. We get an impale. If here I wasn't targeted by the impale, so I cross the mirror immediately. We get against the countess. If I get the impale, I play the impale, then I get into the mirror and to the countess. You need to be aware of that kind of little thing, that you always need to handle the impale first. Here during the massacre, you need to make sure you don't get hit by it, even if it means LOSing the Jihad who's in its cloud. And same goes when I'm going to go back a bit here. Same goes when you get pulled by the boss. As you can see, they are poop on the ground. You don't want to have poop on the path, because you can get hit by it if it's on the path, and if it does, you're dead. So here, impale again. As you can see, AM from Ado on this impale. We kill the Kabbalists. So, which means poop on the ground. Massacre. Throwing poop. Need to dodge everything. This is a very fast-paced boss, but it's completely timed. Like, the timers won't change. So it's actually pretty easy to deal with this boss. Here was my SLT on the impale. As you can see, it almost negates the ability. Here we walk towards the last ads, and it's going to be my HTT. This HTT isn't really for healing, it's more for mana, even though we don't really need it. As you can see, I'm at 100, although I don't really heal that much compared to Bazuk. As you can see, second phase is a dance. You deal with the impale, then you go on an ad. So first you go on an ad, then you get dragged by the boss, you get to the mirror, you deal with the impale. If you're not targeted by the impale, you go immediately on the ad you're supposed to kill, which means you cross the mirror or not, depending on your assignment. And when the fourth cloak ads are dead, you basically have nothing to do but heroic things. So you deal with the heroic boss. You just always keep in mind that he really deals damage during the phase 2 compared to the phase 2 in heroic. So here we go, phase 3, and note here that I try to DPS as much as I can. That's very important. Healer's damage matters on this fight. Here we drop the orbs and then we soak the one we have to soak. First, it's on the right side here. You need to keep up the people who drop the orbs because they take a dot, as you can see on the glowing frame, and you don't want them to be under 80% for the blood price, otherwise they are dead. So here on vocal with Bazuk, we assign ourselves to someone. Apparently it was Firaz for me here. He's supposed to handle Yoks. So here Massacre with the orb. At the same time we just gate it. It's just easier and it makes the melees placing themselves really properly. Blood price, a lot of damage coming in. You need to keep up the guy with the orbs. Once again, as you can see, Firaz dropping very low. Second reflection means we have the knockback. Yeah, I trolled a bit. I could have been closer to the boss. He didn't kill me though, so it's fine. But I should have been closer to the boss. As always, damage as much as you can. Keep people up before blood price is coming in. Your Bazuk was fine, he had personal, as I did. You need to be aware, if you can, on whom is using personals. That's important because here, for example, don't need to be afraid for Bazuk even though he's not at 100% health. But you need to be aware if it's not the case for someone else, right? Well, that's pretty much it for this boss. The boss, as I said, is completely timed. It's really easy to go through. It will always deal the same amount of damage at a specific moment. So very easy end boss, actually. As you can see, it's my first kill. It was the second of the guild. Anyway, have fun with it. The fight is really cool, even though it's quite easy compared to what we had during BFA, but for Gahoon. But the fight is really cool. It's really, really cool. You're gonna probably enjoy it. That's it for the video. Thank you everyone for watching it. I hope it will help you get this boss down. If you have any question, use the comment section or reach out to me at Ariana_live on Twitch. The link is in the description. And do never forget, the wind doesn't kill people, only slacking does.